Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're tackling something pretty mind-blowing. We're bridging that massive gap between huge, abstract cosmic principles and, well, the tangible, everyday stuff you do in your normal life. We're going to explore this totally fascinating philosophy that basically argues the entire design of the universe is intimately connected to human behavior. Seriously. It's a deep dive into how the grand, sweeping architecture of reality maps perfectly onto the choices you and I make every single day.
So let's just jump right into a really provocative question, okay? What is the secret formula of the universe? Now, the philosophy we're analyzing today fundamentally challenges that modern kind of bleak idea that the universe is just this cold, empty machine, just operating in the background, totally indifferent to us. Instead, it suggests a dynamic, completely interactive system that actually needs us to work. It positions humanity not as some random cosmic accident, but literally as a crucial gear in the engine of reality.
To unpack all this, we've got a really clear path today. We'll look at the cosmic principles of creation, then the metaphor of heaven, earth, and human. Next, the value of human as microcosm, followed by the Taegeuk and cosmic harmony, and finally, the alignment of theory and practice. Basically, we're going to start all the way zoomed out at the macro level of the cosmos, and then zoom right back into your everyday life.
All right, starting off with Section 1, Cosmic Principles of Creation. Understanding the universe actually begins with a very specific, expanding sequence of reality. It doesn't just pop into existence all at once. It unfolds. It grows from something incredibly simple into the infinite complexity we see around us today.
Okay, so it starts with Taegeuk, the supreme ultimate. Think of this as pure, unfiltered potential. It's a state of absolute oneness right before anything else existed. Then boom, from that singular point emerges yin-yang, the dual opposing cosmic forces. This is that ultimate push and pull, light and dark, expansion and contraction we always hear about. As those dual forces interact, they expand outward into Sasang, the four symbols, which start adding layers like direction in the seasons. And finally, this expands even further into Palgui, the 8 trigrams. These represent the infinite, messy, beautiful diversity of the physical world we live in. It's really just an elegant, expanding equation, stepping from 0 to 2 to 4 to 8, and on and on.
And that brings us right to Section 2, the metaphor of heaven, earth, and human. Now, if those previous philosophical terms sounded a little bit dense, hey, don't worry. This philosophy actually brings them quite literally down to earth, translating that massive cosmic equation into a language that feels deeply, fundamentally human.
See, historical figures managed to simplify all that dense jargon into incredibly relatable concepts. Notice how those dual forces of yin-yang map directly to heaven and earth. That's the fundamental physical space we exist in. Basically, it's the stage. Then Sasang, the 4 symbols, represents time, driven by the turning of the sun and the moon. That is the clock. But here is the absolute ultimate revelation. Palgui. Palgui maps directly to humanity. In this giant cosmic machine, we are the ultimate operators. We're the ones standing on the stage, watching the clock, and actually making things happen. The sheer profound weight of this idea is captured so beautifully in this quote. Heaven and earth without time is an empty shell. Time without humans is an empty shadow. Just think about the magnitude of that statement for a second. A physical universe and the passage of time are completely meaningless without a conscious human presence to recognize, experience, and act within them. We aren't just sort of hanging out in the background of the universe. We literally give it its meaning.
Which sets us up perfectly for Section 3, the value of human as microcosm. If we really are the ones giving the universe meaning, well, that fundamentally changes how we should view ourselves. We are definitely not just tiny, insignificant specks floating around in a void. We are vital centers of the cosmic map.
Let's think about a modern analogy for a second. Picture a massive, expanding macrocosm full of huge physical planets, galaxies, exploding stars, the whole shebang. Now compare that to a little computer microchip. A microchip is incredibly tiny, right? Yet it holds vast, mind-boggling amounts of information and immense processing power. It essentially contains an entire digital world inside of it. Well, just like that chip, the human being is a microcosm. We hold the exact same complex blueprint as the universe itself, right within our minds and bodies. So size doesn't dictate value here, complexity does.
Because we carry that cosmic blueprint around with us, we actually have 3 vital roles to play. First, harmonizing physical space, heaven and earth, which is known as Yonghua. Second, anchoring the flow of time by centering the sun and moon, known as Yong'o. And third, balancing the spiritual and human realms, known as Yongyong. Take a moment to really digest that.
We act as the literal center point, keeping reality running smoothly. We harmonize the space around us, we give meaning to the time we spend, and we constantly balance our inner spirit with our outward human actions. And all of those roles culminate in a truly powerful concept called junctional. Essentially, this means that humans are the essential balancers of the cosmic equation. We, and only we, have the unique capability to centrally observe, mediate, and maintain the perfect equilibrium of all these massive cosmic forces. Believe it or not, without our conscious effort to balance our lives, the broader system actually falls out of tune. Let's move on to Section 4, Taeguk-gi and Cosmic Harmony, just to see what this actually looks like out in the real world. Because remember, this isn't just some abstract theory you read in a textbook. It's a living, breathing design. You can see how these abstract ideas are physically represented out in the real world. The source notes actually map heaven, earth, water, and fire perfectly onto the 4 trigrams of the South Korean flag, the Taeguk-gi. It literally takes that entire expanding philosophical equation of reality we just talked about and places it right onto a single piece of fabric. The 4 corners of the flag physically represent this cosmic balance functioning in real time. You've got Kan representing heaven, which is yang, then Gon representing earth, which is yin. Gam represents water, tying into feminine nature, and Ri represents fire, tying into masculine nature. It's an absolutely complete visual representation of the mechanics of the universe, just spinning there in perpetual motion. But honestly, here is a truly fascinating argument. A lot of people just assume that the red and blue center dot of the flag simply means the universe. But in this philosophy, it actually represents the human being. Yep, we are that crucial center point, the Yun Chal, holding heaven, earth, water, and fire together. We are sitting right there precisely in the middle of all those powerful, chaotic, swirling forces, and it is our job to keep them steady. No pressure, right? Which brings us to our final and honestly, perhaps our most important section, Section 5, Alignment of Theory and Practice. Now, knowing all this grand cosmic theory is super impressive, sure, but the text insists it is entirely useless without one critical ingredient. Using a classic quote from Confucius, the philosopher reminds us that, hey, intellectual learning absolutely must be paired with timely, physical practice to generate actual joy. If you're just sitting there reading about the universe, but you don't act on it, you've missed the entire point of its design. The universe is not a textbook to be memorized. It is a profound, interactive system that must be lived. Consider this wonderfully relatable analogy from the source. A secluded monk might perfectly understand the theoretical concept of yin-yang from just reading books all day in silence. But, and this is kind of humorous when you think about it, it's actually a married couple who experiences its reality. Navigating those daily conflicts, arguing, negotiating, and making up, they are the ones physically practicing the balance of opposing forces. They are out there doing the hard, messy, day-to-day work of keeping yin and yang in total alignment. The contrast here is really sharp. Theory without practice is kind of like grinding gears. It just leads to arrogance, empty debates, and a profound lack of real empathy or connection. It just creates friction in your life. But actively practicing harmony in your daily relationships, well, that's like a well-oiled machine. It leads to true cosmic joy and a physical manifestation of balance. Basically, action is the oil that keeps the universe running smoothly. Ultimately, this is a direct call to action. Theoretical knowledge means absolutely nothing without lived experience. The universe literally relies on human action to maintain its balance. So practicing harmony with the people around you isn't just about being polite or nice, it is literally how you perfect the cosmos itself. Every single interaction you have is an opportunity to align the universe.
So to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought. Knowing the blueprint of the universe is one thing, for sure, but how are you actually living it today? How are you actively practicing your own yin-yang in your daily relationships to balance your personal microcosm? Think about that as you go about your day. It's a real game changer. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep learning.